In a small desert village, the wind is dry and soft. Nothing grows here. The ground is cracked, and the air feels tired. Mira, a young woman of 20, lives in a tiny clay house. She has bright eyes and a kind smile. Her grandmother, old and weak, stays inside most days. Every morning, Mira walks to the well far from home. She carries 2 small pots and sings a gentle song. Her voice moves through the hot air like a soft breeze. People in the village stop and listen. It makes them smile, even for a short moment. Their life is simple. They have little food, little water, but much love. At night, Mira tells her grandmother stories about green trees and cool rain. The old woman laughs softly, saying, "Dreams can grow anywhere." Though the earth is dry, Mira's heart still blooms with hope. Mira is loved by everyone in the village. She is always kind and gentle. She shares her water with thirsty children and helps old people walk home. She gives her food to those who have none. Even when she is hungry, she smiles and says, "We still have tomorrow." Each morning, she visits her grandmother before leaving for the well. The old woman blesses her with a soft touch on her hair. Mira walks under the hot sun, humming a sweet tune. Her song fills the empty air with warmth and hope. At night, they sit together under an old dry tree. The wind moves through the branches, singing its lonely song. Her grandmother smiles and says, "Kind hearts bloom where nothing else can." Mira listens and nods, dreaming of a day when the land turns green again. One evening, she hears a small cry near the tree. A little bird lies hurt on the ground, its wing broken. Mira carefully holds it in her hands. She gives it a few drops of water and hums a soft melody. The bird's eyes shine as it listens. After some time, it becomes strong enough to fly. Before it leaves, it drops a tiny glowing seed into Mira's hand, warm, golden, and full of life. Mira looks at it, her heart filled with wonder. She whispers, "Maybe this is a gift from the sky." Mira plants the glowing seed in the dry soil near her door. She whispers softly, "Please grow, little one." The ground is hard and dry under her feet. The sun burns her back each morning. Still, she smiles with hope in her heart. "You will live here, my little light," she says. Every morning, she brings a small cup of water from the well. She pours it gently onto the seed with care. She sings to it, her voice sweet and calm. Even the wind seems to listen to her song. Her neighbors watch and shake their heads. "Nothing grows here, Mira," they laugh. But Mira only smiles and keeps singing. "Hope also needs water," she whispers to herself. Days pass slowly, and the ground stays silent. But one morning, she sees a small green sprout appear. It shines faintly under the soft sunlight. Her heart fills with joy and wonder. She claps her hands and says, "You did it." Her eyes sparkle with tears of happiness. Every night, she sings beside the sprout. The plant moves gently as if it understands her. By the 7th night, something magical happens. The sprout blooms into a flower, bright and alive. Its petals glow under the moonlight like silver stars. And then, it begins to sing. The song is soft and warm like a lullaby. It floats through the village, touching every home. The villagers wake up to strange sounds of music. They rush outside and see the glowing light. The dry wells are full again with clear water. Trees grow green leaves overnight. The sick begin to smile and stand again. Children laugh as cool rain falls from the sky. People call it the singing flower of hope. They come every night to listen and pray. Mira opens her gate and welcomes everyone. Her small garden becomes a place of life and love. But far away, a greedy man hears the tale. His name is Darren, a wealthy merchant. He dreams of owning the flower for himself. With it, he says, "I will rule them all." He gathers his men and rides to the desert. His heart is filled with greed, not wonder. One stormy night, thunder shakes the sky. Rain falls heavy as torches light the dark. Mira hides the flower inside her shawl to protect it. Outside, angry voices echo through the wind. Darren shouts, "Open the door, girl," with cold eyes. And the night of peace comes to an end. Mira wakes to loud shouts and breaking sounds. She runs outside, heart pounding fast. The wind howls, and the night burns with torchlight. Her small garden lies broken and torn. Darren stands in the middle of the chaos. His men pull the singing flower from the soil. Mira screams, "Stop! Please don't hurt it." But they push her to the ground. She crawls toward them with trembling hands. "It's not just a flower, it's life," she cries. But Darren laughs, his eyes cold and proud. Then life belongs to those who can pay. The men mount their horses and ride away quickly. The flower's song fades into the dark sky. Mira runs after them until her feet bleed. "Please bring it back," she shouts through the storm. The rain stops, and silence fills the air. The glowing light disappears into the distance. By morning, the wells are dry again. The crops bend and turn to dust. The people cry as the heat returns. The riverbed cracks, empty and grey. The same villagers who once smiled now turn away. "It's all gone because of her," they whisper. Mira kneels beside the dead soil, hands shaking. She digs with her fingers, hoping to find a root. But there is nothing, only dust and pain. Tears fall onto the ground like small drops of rain. Her grandmother comes slowly, her steps weak and small. She touches Mira's shoulder softly. "Child," she whispers, "love doesn't die. It only waits." Her voice trembles in the wind. That night, the old woman's breath grows thin and still. Mira holds her close, crying quietly. The candlelight flickers beside them, weak and lonely. The air feels heavy with loss. After the funeral, the village falls silent again. No laughter, no song, only dry wind. Mira sits under the lifeless tree where the flower once grew. She looks at the stars but feels nothing inside. Her tears fall into the cracked earth below. "I'm sorry," she whispers to the dark soil. The night answers with silence, deep and endless. Mira closes her eyes, her heart full of sorrow. The tree above her creaks softly in the wind. The moon hides behind a thin grey cloud. She whispers again, "Will hope ever return?" But only the empty night listens. The days that follow are long and silent. The air feels heavy and still. Mira no longer sings. Her voice is lost in the wind. The villagers avoid her as they pass by. Their eyes are cold and full of blame. Some whisper, "She brought the curse back." Others say, "She let the flower die." Mira walks alone through the empty streets. The wells are dry, and dust covers the ground. She feels like a ghost, unseen, unheard, forgotten by everyone. At night, she sits under the dead tree again. The moonlight touches her face, soft and pale. She whispers, "Maybe I wasn't meant to save anyone." Her heart aches quietly in the dark. But one morning, something changes. The air feels warm, almost gentle again. Mira kneels beside the same dry spot where she once cried. There, in the middle of the cracked soil, a faint light appears. She blinks, thinking it's a dream. Then she sees it clearly, a tiny green sprout. It glows softly, smaller than her fingertip, fragile but alive. Her hands tremble as she touches it gently. "You came back," she whispers. A tear rolls down her cheek, but this time it's not from sadness. For the first time in weeks, a small smile forms on her lips. She looks at the sprout and feels something deep inside, warmth, peace, hope. Then she understands, the magic was never just in the flower. It was in her heart, her kindness, her care for others. Her songs, her love, her courage, they were the true miracle. Mira closes her eyes and smiles again. "So, you're still here," she says softly. The wind blows gently through the dry branches, whispering like an old friend. And though the desert is still empty, her heart feels full again. Because she knows now, even in silence, life begins with love. Mira wakes early each morning now, greeting the tiny sprout with a gentle smile. Her soft voice fills the quiet air as she sings, just like she did before sorrow came into her life. The melody carries warmth and hope through the dry wind, wrapping the village in a calm, tender feeling of life returning. The villagers begin to notice her songs echoing through the air. They pause their work, listening from afar with quiet hearts. Some feel ashamed for blaming her, others feel touched by her strength. Slowly, one by one, they walk toward her small garden. The same place that once held loss now feels alive again. Children come carrying buckets of water, laughing as they splash it onto the dry ground. Elders bring sticks to build a fence and protect the new plant. Women bring seeds they have saved, saying softly, "Let's help it grow." For the first time in a long while, the whole village works together. Their hands are tired, but their hearts are full. Day by day, the sprout grows taller, its leaves glowing faintly at night. Each evening, it hums a soft tune, not as loud as the first flower, but gentle and real. Mira smiles and whispers, "You don't need to be perfect." In that moment, she understands that true magic isn't in the song. It's in care, in kindness, in love freely given. Far away, in Darren's great mansion, the stolen flower lies lifeless. Its petals have turned gray, the air around it silent and cold. He shouts in anger, breaking glass and throwing gold aside. But deep inside, fear begins to rise. He finally understands. Miracles cannot be owned or sold. They only live where compassion lives too. Back in the village, Mira teaches the people what she has learned. She says gently, "We must water the earth with kindness, not greed." Her words are simple, but they stay in every heart. Together, they plant seeds across the dry fields, each one a promise of hope. Weeks pass, and soon, the desert begins to bloom. Small flowers of every color rise from the ground, and the wells fill with fresh water again. Children run through the fields, laughing under the warm sun. Old villagers watch with joy, their eyes shining with peace. Mira stands quietly beside the glowing plant, her heart finally calm. She whispers to the wind, "It was never magic. It was always love." The wind carries her words across the valley. And for the first time, the desert sings, not with one flower, but with 1,000 hearts beating together. Years later, the desert is no longer dry or silent. Green fields stretch across the horizon, and birds sing from every tree. In the middle of it all stands Mira's home, now surrounded by hundreds of glowing flowers. The air smells sweet, and the wind carries a soft, peaceful hum. People from faraway lands come to visit her garden. They bring gifts, food, and stories from their homes. They call her the keeper of the singing seed. Mira always greets them with a smile, her hands covered in soil, her heart calm and full. When travelers ask her, "How did you make this miracle?" she only laughs softly. "There is no secret," she says. "The song only blooms where love grows." Her words are simple, but they stay with everyone who hears them. At night, when the stars shine bright, the flowers begin to sing together. Their voices blend with the wind, soft and warm, like a lullaby for the earth. Mira sits beside her small house, listening quietly. Her eyes close, and she whispers, "Thank you for staying with me." The camera slowly pulls away, showing the glowing valley under the moonlight. The narrator's voice speaks gently. "True miracles are not gifts from the sky. They are born in hearts that give." The scene fades as Mira's song echoes softly in the background. It feels like a prayer, like hope that never ends. Kindness creates the only magic the world truly needs. What about you? Do you believe kindness can change the world? Share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more emotional English listening stories.